day 2 of reviewing a One Piece chapter every single day. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this video where we review chapter 2 of One Piece. And that boy, the Straw Hat wearing Luffy. So the first page kind of get introduced is kind of like it's like a nice little like kind of like art drawing of eventually like the characters you saw from the previous chapter. With we got the man in the red man in the cloak, red hair Shanks. We got kind of the fat guy with the gun that was eating a piece of meat. His name is Lucky Roo. And then we got the smoking rifleman who used his gun as a bat named Ben Beckman. And then we have like Luffy just standing in front of him, happy face. That's kind of how this chapter kind of starts out with a photo. And then we cut to basically Luffy just like relaxing on his little like dinghy. And then everybody says, after reckless going out to sea with a little boat, this young man plans on making some friends and forming his own fleet of pirates. And Luffy's being just relaxing, just being like, this is like a nice day. Who would have thought it became such a disaster? Then all of a sudden, a huge like whirlpool kind of comes, and Luffy just kind of like just sits on the boat. It's like, great. And then he kind of says, "There's no one around me. It'll really be bad if this boat wrecks." And Luffy kind of turns back and says, "Wait, I can't even swim." And then kind of like Luffy's like, "Oh wait, it doesn't really matter if I know how to swim in a situation like this." And all of a sudden, just the water kind of like topples over him, and he kind of goes underneath the sea. Then it cuts to the chapter where it kind of says that boy, the Straw Hat wearing Luffy, and it's basically just Luffy with the Jolly Roger behind him of a skull wearing his straw hat next to a bird, pretty interesting looking bird. Then it kind of cuts away to this remote island, and on it there's like a ship. The ship basically is it's a pink ship with a goose that's wearing a necklace and has heart eyes. There's a lot of heart sticks to it. And even like the Jolly Roger is a skull facing sideways with crossbones and kind of like a heart that's near like where the brain would be. And a woman just kind of like says, "Why is there so much dust?" And then like a crewman says, "1,000 pardons, Alvida Sama. I thought I've already cleaned the whole deck." And the woman's like, and then he kind of says, "I'll clean it again, so please don't." He's like, "Don't do what?" And all of a sudden, "Please don't hit me if you're bludgeoning. I don't want to die." And then all of a sudden, just it kind of makes kind of like a sound like a thud kind of happens as he got hit, and the woman's like, "Kobe." And then who was the guy next to her? Kind of wearing glasses, pink hair, big forehead. Honestly, like humongous forehead. You'll kind of see where it's like Oda kind of draws the characters very interestingly. It's never like consistency. That doesn't make sense really, but like it's just kind of funny. And he's just like, "Kobe, what's the most beautiful thing of all sea?" And then Kobe's kind of like, of course that'll be you, Alvida Sama. And then Alvida's like, "That's right. And that's why I absolutely hate dirty things. I don't want the slightest bit of dust on my ship, do you hear me?" And overall just kind of threatening. And then basically Kobe's kind of got on his knees. And Alvida's just kind of says, "Yeah, I'll only let you live because he knows how to navigate." And he's like, and she kind of says, "Other than that, you're totally useless." And basically, kind of like kind of kicks Kobe's in the head and kind of says, "All right, I clean my shoe." And Kobe's like, "Yes, man." And then we kind of get introduced to Alvida, or the Lady Pirate Iron Mace Alvida. Very large woman, insanely large woman. Very much kind of like the contradiction, and like is very much given like the ugly duckling vibes with the character. That's kind of more at least what Oda felt like his approach with Alvida was, and I feel like he does a pretty good job of it. And basically, Alvida says, "Keep clean, don't leave any dust behind," and everyone's like, "Yes, ma'am." And basically, it's like she kind of kicks Kobe saying, "That's enough, get away." And then Kobe's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And then she basically says, "You have time to apologize. You have time to wash, time to clean like the washroom." And Kobe's like, "Yes, right away." And then like their ship kind of parts on top of like an island where you have like kind of like two little like shacks there with the flag and everything, kind of being like their territory. And Kobe's just kind of like on my way. And it's kind of different because if you actually were to like watch the anime, all this stuff happens aboard the ship. Like this island is not mentioned at all, which I feel like reading the manga, you kind of see like this difference between like interpretations of like kind of like where this story would happen. And I feel like the fact that it's like we get to see kind of like at least more of the fact that like these pirates are have islands and they have like small territories is pretty nice. But like that's point. Moving on. So basically, Kobe kind of like walks over to the thing and he just kind of says, basically says like, "Oh yeah, what are you saying? The barrel is like washed up on the shore." And he said, "Yes, there seems to be something inside. What should we do with it?" And the guy's like, "Great, let's all drink together." And then one of the men is like, "But if the captain finds out, we'll be." And one of the other guys says, "She won't find out." And the same guy, very much wearing like a prison attire, just keeps saying, basically saying, "We're the only ones cleaning the wine cellars, so only us and stupid Kobe will know about this." And then the guy who was like guarding it has like a very like arrow pointed head with like kind of like a beard, not really a beard, but just kind of like a mustache connects down to a beard. This is yeah, you're right. And there's kind of like just a third guy like right there, just like listening to this kind of like big goofy grin. He just kind of wants to just they all drink together. Yellow hair, longish, tongue out open. And then the guy who looks like the prisoner says, "You know what to do, right, Kobe?" And Kobe's like, "Of course. I haven't seen anything." He, he's like, "Please don't." He's like, "Please don't beat me up." Then all of a sudden, Luffy pops out the barrel. He was hiding in that barrel. That's how he was able to survive, like the whirlpool. And Luffy just kind of yells, "What a nice snap that was!" And everyone's shopping like, "What the hell?" And Luffy's like, "Looks like I'm saved. I thought I was gonna die too. Haha." All with like a big like smile on his face. So then he kind of sits and just kind of looks at all the men, all of them surprised. And then the prisoner, the very like the guy with the weird beard and the long yellow hair man, all just kind of like, "Who the heck are you?" And Luffy's even like, "Who are you?" The prisoner guy just kind of goes up and says, Why would someone be coming out of the wine barrel?" And then Alvia kind of says, "Stop slacking off." And it is kind of where you kind of see like how strong some of the pirates are, at least in this series, because her just throwing her basically her iron club broke the entire wooden like building in one hit. And Luffy just kind of goes like flying, rolling down the barrel, like rolling. And as the three members all just kind of immediately defeated. And then Aviator kind of like walks up and says, "I asked you what's the most beautiful thing of all the seas." And they're all like, "That'd be you, of course." And Avia's like, "Good. Then why are you trying to disobey me?" He said, "No, we'll never do something like that." And then Avia's like, "Don't play dumb with me. I heard you guys say what a nice snap that was all the way from the ship." And then the prison guy is kind of like, he kind of like remembers it was Luffy, and he's like, "Ah." And he's like, "Oh, that's right, Captain. There is an invader." He's like, "That's right. Just now, Kobe brought a strange guy." And Avia's like, "What could it be? Someone who's trying to catch me and get a reward? Kobe, that Brad dares to betray me." And he says, "Could it be him, that famous?" And they're like, "Nonsense. I heard that he's still being held captive in Marine prison," referring to like another guy. And Alvia kind of mentions his name. He says, "If he's the real thing, he must have escaped by now. The notoriously evil Roronoa Zoro." Then it cuts to the woods where Kobe ends up finding Luffy. And he says, are you alright? Did you get hurt? You got knocked pretty far." And Luffy's just kind of laughing, like, "Haha." He's like, "I'm fine. I'm just a little surprised, that's all." He's like, "I'm Luffy. What's this place?" And then we get more of like kind of the title card where it's just Kobe or pirate ship caretaker Kobe. And he says, "This is the breeding grounds of the pirate Iron Mace Avita." He's like, "I'm a caretaker of the ship. My name's Kobe." And Luffy's like, "Oh, I'm see. Actually, that's not important." And Kobe's like, "Oh." He's like, "Do you guys have a small boat? Mine got caught in a whirlpool." He's like, Whirlpool? You were caught in a whirlpool?" He's like, "Yeah, that was whirlpool. It was scary." And Kobe's like, "A normal person would have died already. You want a small boat? Well, I have one, bud." And it kind of appears the boat. And he's like, "What is this? A coffin?" It's a very like dingy boat made of like kind of looks like from like scrap wood. Like wasn't really like pretty decent like craftsmanship. Given the fact that Kobe even says like he was building a secret for 2 years, and even Luffy's like spent 2 years. He's like, "You don't want it anymore?" And Kobe's like, "Yeah, I don't want it anymore. I was gonna try to run away in this, but I don't have the guts to do it. Looks like I'm gonna be a caretaker my whole life. Although I do have something else I want to do." And Luffy just quite frankly just says, then you should leave. And Kobe, being scared, saying, no, I can't. It'll never work. Whenever I think of Alvida Sama finding out my legs turn all mushy, he's like, I get so scared. And then kind of Kobe's kind of reveals like how he kind of got into the situation where he says, that day I was only fishing, but I accidentally walked onto this ship. And you just kind of see is like Kobe holding a fishing rod, and you just see the Avia pirates just kind of like looking menacingly in silhouette with the flag behind them. And then Kobe's saying, and I had to become a caretaker on the ship these 2 years to stay alive. And then Luffy just again bluntly says, "You're pretty stupid and useless." And he even continues on saying, "And you seem kind of wimpy too. I don't like you." And then Kobe just kind of just like crying from like hearing this. And then even he kind of says, "But you're right. If only I'm brave enough." And then he kind of says, "Hey Luffy, why are you sailing?" Because he's just asking him a question about it. And then Luffy just says, "I want to become the king of the pirates." And then Kobe's surprised, he's like, "What?" Pirate King was the title of someone who had everything in the world. And then Kobe kind of yells, "Are you telling me that you're looking for the world's greatest treasure, the One Piece?" And that's the series name. That is the goal of Monkey D. Luffy. And then Kobe's like, "You want to die or something?" He's like, "All the pirates in the world look for that treasure." And Luffy's like, "Well, so am I." And then Kobe kind of just like goes into like kind of rant saying like it's impossible to become the pirate king in the pirate era. He's like, "There's no chance, impossible." And then Luffy just quite frankly just punched him in the face. And Kobe's like, "Ow, why you hit me?" And Luffy basically is like, "Because I couldn't stand you. You're annoying me." And Kobe kind of says, "Well, I'm used to it anyway." And Luffy says, "I'm not afraid of dying." And because Luffy says, "Because it's my dream, and that's why I don't mind dying for it." And then Kobe kind of has realization saying, "That's an amazing revolution." And he kind of mutters, like, "Won't even mind dying." Kind of just like, more of like, kind of says it out loud. And Luffy says, "Besides, I think I could do it, although it could be pretty tough." And then Kobe's like, "I never thought of that. Will I also be able to accomplish my dream?" And Luffy's kind of, "Oh, what?" Because Kobe's dream is he wants to become a Marine. And Luffy's surprised like a Marine. And Kobe says, "I know it means that we'll be enemies, but joining the Marines and catching bad guys has always been my dream." And he says, and then he kind of like again yells at Luffy saying, "Do you think I can do it?" And then Luffy just again quite frankly says, "I wouldn't know." And Kobe just like being very just like excited, just kind of says, "I have to at least try. I'd rather die trying to get out of here and join the Marines than stay here and be a character my entire life." And then Alvida Sama, he says, "I'll be able to arrest her." And then at that point, Alvida kind of appears and she just kind of says, "Who did you say you were going to arrest, Kobe?" And then just slams down on like her mace on the ship. And then ship parts flying. Kobe just kind of sitting there saying, "My boat." And Alvida then kind of turns to say, "Do you think you can escape from me?" Because it's Alvida with the entire crew. And then Alvida says, "Is that who you hired to capture me? He doesn't seem to be Roronoa Zoro." Another name drop of this character that'll appear later. And he says, "Anyways, before you die, I'm going to ask you, what's the most beautiful thing in the sea, Kobe?" And Luffy's confused. And then and Kobe just looks nervous. He looks terrified. He looks like he forgot to take out the frozen chicken in the microwave, and then his parents pulled up into the driveway. Kind of says, "Well, of course that'd be." And then Luffy kind of cuts in and says, "Who's this rude woman?" The shocked face of everyone. Avia looks pissed. The three guys in the wine cellar says, "This kid he dares to. That kid he dares to." Actually, that's what they said. And then Kobe's like, "Luffy-san, quick, repeat after me." And all the seas, this lady's the most the. And then Kobe remembers what Luffy said earlier of him saying, "Because that's my dream, and that's why I won't mind dying for it." And then Kobe, mad as hell, snapped out of his stupidity, says, "The rudest damned bitch." And then he looks up and sees Alvida just staring menacingly down at him. And Luffy is just laughing. He is big smile, just laughing his ass off because he thinks it's funny. Which honestly, I think it would too. Then Avia says, "You little brat," and then Kobe's just scared out of his mind, but he's telling himself like, hey, don't regret it." He's like, "I've already told myself to fight for my dreams." Luffy steps in and says, "Well said, Kobe. Now get behind me." And then Avita bring down her club, and basically saying, "You guys have to die." And it slams Luffy right in the head. Luffy, not even taking a bit of damage, says, "It's useless against me because my body is rubber." And then Avita's kind of like, "That's impossible," and everyone was shocked and saying, "No way." Everyone was shocked, and then Luffy just goes, "Go go no." Avita goes, "Huh?" And then just fires, pistol, punches her like directly into the face, knocking off the hat. And then everyone's confused, saying his arm extended. Captain Avita was beaten by that monster. And then he basically points at them, saying, "Prepare a boat for Kobe. He wants to join the Marines, so stay out of his way." And then the rest of the crew, who kind of sees this happening, are just kind of like, "Yeah, no, I'm not trying that." And Luffy just kind of goes, "He," just kind of laughing. And then Kobe is crying, like tears of joy, saying, "Luffy." And then Kobe kind of says, "You actually ate the rubber fruit. Awesome." He said, "But Luffy-san, if you're looking for the One Piece, that means you're gonna have to get into the Grand Line, right?" That's the location that we referenced earlier. That he even calls it the Pirates Graveyard. And Luffy's like, "Yeah, that's why I need a strong crew." And he's like, "And one of them is being held captive at the place you're going." And Kobe's like, "You mean Roronoa Zoro?" And Luffy kind of says, "If he's a good guy, I asked him to join me." And then Kobe, being like confused, is just saying, "Oh, what? You're dreaming again?" He's like, "You can't. You can't. He's a monster." He said, "We can't be sure about that yet." And Kobe's just saying it'll never work. And then Eric kind of says the little boat sails towards the marine space. And that is chapter two. That's chapter two. Honestly, just kind of like it was a very like nice little chapter. It kind of introduced kind of like the some of like the world of just kind of like where like these like pirates kind of like there's a lot of like some pirates that are out there, and it just kind of shows like how like strong like Luffy's supposed to be in like relative, because he basically just one shot a pirate because of like his devil fruit. And again, it kind of shows like the extent of just like how durable his fruit is, and just like overall just like how Luffy can be able to survive. And then yeah, no, and then with the introduction of Kobe, he's just kind of supposed to be more like shown as like that regular like civilian within the world at this moment. But no, yeah, honestly, I enjoy this chat there. It also kind of shows like the difference between like the anime and the manga, because in the anime, the scene where he's fighting like Alvida is like appears first, then his backstory, while in the manga it's flipped. Personally, I enjoyed the manga version of telling of it because I feel like it kind of makes more sense when you look at like how Luffy got the stuff he did that leads into how he is now. Then you have stuff first, then you explain it later. I think both is kind of good. Both works, but I guess for my personal preference, I like the manga version a little bit better. And then, yeah, again, make sure to like, subscribe, and he said again, check out the TikTok description where again I post like random topics and I yap about it. And the TikToks is AP Beans too. Hopefully, y'all enjoy the video, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Later, everyone.